Can you
DJ.
give me your radio voice? Do you remember it?
It's this.
Okay.
I mean, my voice is the same in person and on air and it is too hard to change it.
And you don't really talk like a lot of the other anchors. They talk slow. They're like, today's news.
Well,
I can't really do good
it's
voices.
too hard to. I mean, occasionally I'll try to go a little British.
There you go.
Would you like a spot of tea?
The Jordan Duron Podcast. All right, there.
I'm here. Do I have to hold it up this close to my face so it sounds good?
I don't know how you sound. Yeah.
It sounds better here than here. Much better up here.
Yeah, it does. See, it doesn't have it on around here.
Yeah.
Like, you can't talk like this.
I can hear you like that good.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. See, look, it sounds good here, and it sounds good here.
Do you use lav mics, right?
Yes. Yes. And I think they're Sennheiser or something like that. So they're good, but I mean, it's stringing it up through your clothes. I mean, it is so much more difficult for a woman to be on TV than a man. I mean, they literally put it.
What if you have a nice beard? Like.
Well, I mean, that's fine, but you couldn't wear anything up here because your beard would constantly rub it.
So we're here with, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Carrie, and I've gone by Carrie Duncan on air for a long time. I have been married now for 10 years. Dan and I just celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary. So my married name is Cuevas, and that is legally my name.
You married a giant.
I did. He is.
How tall is he?
6'5".
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5", and he always wears he almost always wears cowboy boots. So that's another lift. I mean, but yeah, I was actually talking to David Elliott the other day, and he said, I was standing by Dan at that Coast legislative reception up in Jackson, and he was like, how tall are you? Because Dave is like, I mean, he's not tall, but he's not short. And so he was standing by Dan and feels very short. Like when Michael Watson comes in, and some of these bigger lawmakers come in, he's like, I mean, can I get my chair a little higher? It's just funny.
Was he wearing a cowboy hat?
He does have a cowboy hat, and he wears it. That is his go-to Halloween costume, as a cowboy.
I was thinking, since he's now, he just won. Mm-hmm. What is he?
Supervisor, District 1.
District 1. Wear a cowboy hat, and then like walking tall, where they had the like baseball bat. Get him to start walking around like that. You've seen walking
wearing
tall.
All black, yeah.
I think it's good. When he won, I was not in my district, but I was so excited. I love change, and to see him win. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah,
I didn't even know he's married to you.
Yeah,
like I was just like.
Well, he did. I mean, look, I give him so much credit. He is. I mean, when he wants to do something, he does. I mean, he started an AC business, an HVAC company, and he watched YouTube videos. He figured out how to do it. He took the test. He passed them all at first try.
Y'all have an HVAC business?
Yes.
What's it called?
Cuevas Heating and Air.
Plug it on here, guys. Plug it on here.
Heating and Air. And so, but he's also full-time AT&T still. He is supervisor now. So, I mean, we both come from that constantly doing something, working. I mean, I don't do it as much, and I haven't done it as much in the past year and a half. I sell LuLaRoe clothes. I have like a whole boutique. I have a massive amount of clothes upstairs at my house.
What is that?
It is clothing. It's a multi-level marketing business. I mean,
okay, my mom was in Mary Kay.
Okay, so basically what you do as a retailer is you buy the clothes from the company. You order the style of top or bottom or pants. You order the style and the size, but you never know what print you're getting or solid or whatever. So
it's like a mystery.
It is. And
I kind of like that.
So it's really neat, and it allows the retailers to be able to work together to where you're not just buying what you think is the best. Because, I mean, really, if you think about it, you don't know. Now, look, there's a
you need somebody making a decision for you every now and then.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes there's stuff that, my husband was like, I mean, that is never going to sell. And I was like, that was the first thing that sold. He was like, what? I said, just because you don't like it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. And so, I think sometimes we get so into ourselves that we think, well, I like it, so everyone would. Kind of like when I was young, I was like, I mean, nobody watches TV. Nobody watches the news. I don't watch the news. This is going to be an easy job.
Do you sell it online or do you sell it on the streets?
Well, I've done pop-ups. I haven't in a long time, but most of the time, most of the people who know me come and shop with me. I do sell it online some, but I can even post other retailers' pictures and sell it. And so then they would pay me. I pay them the wholesale price. I charge the retail price. And so it's a business. It's a good little business for someone to do. You have to invest in it. And I mean, look, it's called, I think, I don't even want to say it, but there's a bad, I don't know, I think it's on Netflix or Prime about LuLaRoe. They were people talking awful about the people who own the company. And to be honest with you,
How do you spell that name?
LuLaRoe. It's their first 3 grandkids,
Okay.
like Lucy, Lola, and Monroe. So LuLaRoe, they combined it, and they started out with leggings, like the softest, most comfortable leggings. Well, she started out with maxi skirts.
Well, that's what got you sold was the leggings.
Oh my gosh, I was pregnant with Bradley, and I was like, I'm obsessed. And they were like no retailer. There were very few, and they couldn't keep them in stock. I mean, they were making bank on this. And so there were some saying you don't have to do anything and you can make money. And you and I both know
I've had leggings.
they're amazing.
I
should have brought, I wish I'd have known I would have brought you a pair. I'll bring you a pair.
I had a mattress store, shut down my mattress store, pandemic. I had it for like 7 years.
I have cancer ones.
Do you?
Yes.
I'd wear them. But I would always do these really goofy commercials from a mattress store on social media. And I did one commercial where I was wearing leggings.
Oh.
And they were pretty comfortable.
They truly are so comfortable.
I felt like Emily was checking me out a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
She probably was.
They are comfortable. So that just leggings alone, though, is a market.
Yes, it really is. And, I think I did it because I was always looking for something. And I'd said, I think I would love to be a personal shopper. I just don't think there's really that big of a market for it here.
No. Yeah.
But I do love to do it. And when my mom would come down, I'd always go and make her try on all this stuff. And, I'd make people try stuff on and they'd be like, I don't know. I'm like, just try it on. And they're like, I
you're
like
one of them
it.
friends?
Yes. But
Okay.
they're like, and I'm like, I do know, but you're never going to know if you don't try it on. That's the biggest thing. I'm like, try it on. If you don't like it, then take it off and you never have to put it on again. But you might be surprised that something out of your comfort zone actually looks good on you and makes you feel good, makes you feel different. Because, clothes matter. You are in a very comfortable state right now. If I told you, go put on a suit, you would be like, absolutely not. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're not the most comfortable things. If you found a suit that felt like that, you would wear it more often, wouldn't you?
For sure.
Yeah. So it has to be comfortable. And that I think
I will say, though, with the suit thing, though, I did grow up with a mom that dressed me like a doll. So I was that kid. I was that kid in school wearing blazers with my uniforms and stuff.
Oh, how cute.
I had my mom. She was
you need to go find some pictures and then put those into this part so we can see you dressed like a doll and just overlay it as we're talking.
Well, there's 4 of us, 4 siblings. So my mom, she did the best. We had a good life.
How many boys and girls?
3 boys, 1 girl.
Oh.
But my mom, it was tough, financially with clothes. So we always went to the thrift store.
Oh yeah.
So we just had secondhand clothes.
I'm gonna pop some tags.
Yeah.
We go to Once Upon a Child all the time. And the joke is my husband and the kids are in the car with us. Dan's like, you want to go to Home Depot? And the kids are like, no. And I'm like, Once Upon a Child. They're like, oh, Mom. But I get so much of their stuff at Once Upon a Child.
Broken stuff.
I do too. And I don't worry about, I'm like, I paid $3 for it. I don't care if
So you're a bargain shopper.
Oh, yes.
What do you think? What do you think about Hudson's? I feel like they're not really. I think they're going downhill now.
I haven't been in a while since I started selling my clothes. They're a middle price point. Like the leggings are $25 and like the tops run anywhere from like, I think, I don't know, 30 up to 45. But that's still a lot of money.
Or whatever you call it.
Yes, as I'm trying to get rid of some of my inventory because I have a massive amount. So that's a goal that I have for me for this year is to really whittle that down because it's not that it's not good stuff. I just don't have time and I haven't had time. For example, last night I was at work until 2:30 in the morning and then I was up this morning because I had to get the kids to school and come do this. And then after this, I'm going to do the show. And then this evening we're going up to the Governor's Ball in Jackson. So, there's just it's always busy. It's always a grind.
Do you have
and
a driver?
I'm not complaining. My husband,
Oh, okay.
Dan is driving me up to Jackson tonight, and we're driving back right
Okay.
after.
Oh, no way.
Away because he's doesn't want to miss work. I mean, he's having to take off so much time with his supervisor role that he's like, well, I really would not. I would rather not have to, because he had to take off half a day yesterday because he had the board meeting, and so we're just trying to figure it out, trying to figure out how to make everything in our lives fit in.
Well, it's kind of your fault. 'Cause, I mean, you did support him and say, "Hey, go do it."
I know
It is your fault. Like that's a decision I have to make with him.
Well, I think he would have done it. And I started out saying, and I didn't finish because I have a feeling we're going to both be all over the map.
I like that though.
I do too. But he did everything. Like, he started and he read about it. He decided he wanted to do it. He didn't even know he was going to get paid. I think I've told you that.
I know.
He didn't know there was a salary.
Guys, if you haven't met Dan, he's like very he wants to do right for the community.
Yes.
That's his goal, is to have a better place for his kids.
Yes. And he grew up, I mean, his parents split when he was young, and then they both remarried shortly after and have been with their same spouse now for 30-something years. But he has a sister, and then he has a half-brother, half-sister, a couple of step-brothers. He's got such a great blended family, so he knows what it's like. But, there are so many people that he has always had this mentality that he just doesn't count on anybody until they actually show up. He's like, yeah, they said they were going to do it, but I don't expect them to until I see them. And I'm like, that's terrible. He's like, well, why? I mean, I'm just not going to let myself get let down. I'm going to take care of me and do what I have to do. And we met late in life, so he's used to doing everything that he has to. I mean, he bought his first truck.
Where'd you meet him at?
Purple lowrider.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick. I got one here. You seen one out there? I got a lowrider. Where'd you meet him at?
We met, actually, I think the first time we met was at the French Quarter.
Ooh.
Yes, and I had organized a fundraiser, and it was called Fall Around Downtown, Fall into the New Year, Fall into the Holidays, or something like that, and it was a pub crawl. We didn't have one in Gulfport, and I was doing one to raise money. And so what it was you bought a ticket. I had all the bars, because I was bartending down at EO's. I was doing that after I would get off of work on Friday and Saturday nights from WLOX, and I would go down and bartend. And yes, I would go down and bartend. And I'd always wanted to do it. And I'm the type of person, I'm like, I think I can do it. I think I can do anything. And so I want to try it.
Mindset.
Yeah. So we met then, but I actually started dating someone else that night. I met someone, and then we started dating.
That night?
Well, I met him. I met
Carrie.
Dan that night. And Wayne Cullinan is his cousin, and his cousin always made him come out. So a huge credit to us being together is because his cousin lived with him. They lived in the house where we live now. And anyway, so we met that night, but then we really started after Chad and I broke up. He was just a great person. That was like one of my most mature relationships. Like, I loved his family, he loved mine, and we just weren't right together. So it was really difficult because we still cared for each other, but we were like, we know this isn't right, and that's going to happen.
It's called rebound.
So,
right?
Well, no. Like, I hadn't dated anybody in a while, and I started dating Chad, and then.
But it's that same kind of feeling though, when you're we kind of. Yeah,
right.
We don't get along. I've had that several times.
And so it was just a difference. It was just different. And he is happily married now. He and his wife have a new baby. And
Y'all double date?
No, we haven't double dated. We just don't. I mean, gosh, I feel like my husband and I don't do a whole lot of that because we don't really have time. We try to, but it's more of going over to friends' houses and stuff.
Do you know what lowrider Dan had? Do you remember it?
No, because I didn't know him then. I mean, he was like, he had a mustache and he wore a gold chain, and he was like, he graduated in, I think, 97. So I graduated in 95. I'm 2 years older than he is. And I remember I dated a guy named Chris Mize, and he had a boom, 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 boom truck. And I remember he would play the song, "The Very First Time That I Saw Your Brown Eyes." Do you remember that song? Anyway, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cheesy. So I've never been into the do, do, do. And Dan, he hears like 90s hip hop.
Yeah,
And he is like, I mean, he can rap, he can fly. Like, it is the funniest thing.
Is he a Biggie or is he Tupac?
I have no idea because I don't
There's
really.
like an East Coast, West Coast kind of.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good question for him when he's on here because, again, I've never, like, I mean, I liked LL Cool J some, but I like more of the mainstream stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do like Eminem. I think, like, when that
Do you know my first
halftime
CD?
show, what?
Stevie B, Spring Love, had the greatest hits.
I don't know him.
Spring Love, come back to me.
Now, see, I loved Lionel Richie. Like, I loved him. We had that
What
record.
song does he sing?
Easy Like Sunday Morning, Dancing on the Ceiling. He sings so many. I just love his music. And I've always loved the 50s and 60s. I'm an older soul. And my mom was always like, my car, my music. So that's what we did.
My mom did the same thing, but it was always that Black Velvet played on repeat.
Oh, I like that song too.
Yeah, but that's
Atlanta
my mom.
Miles.
Yep, Black Velvet.
I remember being stuck in traffic going down to the beach with.
And then Mom listened to Wham.
Oh yeah, yeah. Last Christmas. My kids love that Christmas song, and every time we come on, they start singing, and I'm like, gosh, I love this. It makes me so happy that my kids love music like I do.
Yeah, my mom was very. She was pretty up there in the music, but you didn't touch her radio, right? And like her TV, like right now, I guarantee she's having a cup of coffee, and she's probably watching Frasier. I'd guess.
That's good. My mom is probably reading a book. My mom loves to read. She's an avid reader. My mom she was born in 1947, so she is 75,
Six, yes, around there.
She'll be this year. She'll turn whatever.
What are you gonna buy her?
Math. She's probably gonna watch this, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
Because I did.
You actually
We
buy
got
a
her a
gift?
Christmas. Well, we got her a Christmas present this year. I have 3 sisters, and so she was like, wanted an Apple Watch, so she could find her phone. And I'm like, well, that's my favorite feature on the Apple Watch is knowing how to find your phone. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so you can ding
I don't
it.
ever wear my Apple Watch though.
I do like mine, and I use it when I work out, so I do like that part of it too. But real quick, because we've gotten so sidetracked, Dan did everything for that campaign on his own. Like, he built his website, he did all the research, he got the paperwork filed, he was knowing what he could and couldn't do, and then so if people would call him saying, you need to do this, he'd be like, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. Like, he did everything.
When did he know he was going to run though? Like, let's say, was it a year? Did y'all plan this? Because it had to been like a bedroom talk. Like, you lay in bed and he's just like, hey babe, I really think I'm going to run.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, I was like, okay,
That's
whatever you want to do.
That's kind of how it all starts. So it's like,
Yeah.
when I'm like, hey Emily, I want to do my own insurance agency.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's that kind of,
Okay.
like, where do we have time?
Right.
It's like, but yeah, sure. And
Make time.
so that's probably how Dan, I'm pretty sure he thought about it for a long time. Didn't
He
even tell
did.
you.
He is over analytical, like overthinker.
Do they like him right now? Is they liking him up there or what?
Yeah, I think so. I think, he really does have a commanding presence because of his height. I mean, that's
why it attracted you to him. I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, I could see him over everyone. Being short,
was it the mustache and the gold chain?
No, he didn't have that. I didn't meet him. We've only been together for 10 years. I'm 46. I'm about to be 47. I mean, he's 2 years younger than I am.
Still young, though.
Yeah. So, but we didn't meet until our 30s. So I didn't know him in his glory days or his heyday.
So me and Emily, I knew her because her mom was Miss Shekels, a St. Martin teacher. I knew Emily. That's what I was saying. These coffee mugs. Shout out to my girls. I got Carrie Jo, and Emily. They have Crafty Clover, and they have they make whatever you want. Wedding signs. I think they mainly do wedding signs, but they do all kind of like promotional stuff. But I had Denise Bowman on, which we're going to start a podcast, I think in March, Denise. But she came on with a coffee mug, and she made fun, like, you don't know what I'm drinking. So we did these coffee mugs. I had this idea to do, could be alcohol, could be coffee. You'll never know.
A lefty, it looks like coffee, but a righty, it looks like alcohol.
And I'm a lefty.
I'm a righty, I'm drinking the coffee.
So me and Emily, Carrie set us up. They're best friends. Carrie set us up on like a text through Facebook. We were 30. It was like she texted me. I went up there and visited her in Hasburg. We dated for 2 weeks and had a kid.
Oh, wow.
And then bought this house
awesome.
3 months later.
Aww.
So we're kind of
Wait, you had a kid in 2 weeks?
Yeah, well, I mean, We
The whole
got her
9-month
pregnant.
thing. Okay.
I had a house in Hickory Hills.
Okay.
And I remember her giving me the pregnancy test. She loves music too. You love her. Like she loves like live music. She likes craft beer and live music.
Yeah.
I was sold already. And she didn't have like this was one of the first girls I ever met that didn't have like a gossip friend group.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're really negative friend group.
Yeah,
She's
I can't do negative.
She's kind of independent with her, our personal life. So it was nice.
Yeah.
Normally when you hang out with girls, this is a tip I want to give. Like normally when you hang out with girls, then they have their girlfriends that are pissed off. They don't like you. Yada, yada, yada.
We didn't have any of that. I mean, yeah.
There's some third world girls out there.
He was the first guy who just did not care. Like I dated a guy who could not stand that I got more attention than he did because people knew who I was. You know, he wanted the damsel in distress, and I'm not a damsel in distress. I mean, I can be in distress sometimes, but I can pretty much fix it because I had to know how to do that. So, you know, it just takes different people. And sometimes I think people need to, that's what makes them feel.
You got a good energy. I always, my mom always says, but like vibe off energy. You have a very good energy.
Well, I mean, you do too. I mean,
people can feel the energy. Like,
I mean, we just met.
Yeah, we met at Fly Llama. Shout out to Fly Llama, Dave, Carrie Reese. Like, they, we met and had a small talk and I told Butler, it's funny, me and Butler on the phone, it's like, that's my girl. Me and Butler on the phone, I was like, you know, we just won the Sands. That was big for us.
Yeah.
And this is the first original Sands hat that was ever made.
I love it.
And
I love him, by the way, and his wife.
He said y'all had the best time. And I said, I don't know. I said, I love her energy. I said, she's one of us. I said, is it weird? Everything's just happening where everybody's coming together. Talking about like people's energy is like, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. I think it's so organic, and it's so important that you don't try to force things.
Yeah. Like
there's so much, they're just easier when it's just natural. Like sometimes, I mean, I used to always be like, I wonder what happened. Like, why am I not hanging out with them? And then I'd be like, oh, well, they just got arrested for drugs, or they just got arrested for this, or, ooh, they're doing this now. Like, I mean, I've had several friends in my life down here a couple who have passed away from addiction. And I was like, why did they never come to me? You know, but I'm like, they didn't want to hear it. I mean, it had nothing to do with me, but it is so important for me. And what I've turned it into is just listening to myself, and my second nature knew to stay away from them, and they knew to stay away from me because I would have been like, what are you doing? Like, why are you trying to throw your life away? You have everything, you know, like everything.
I dabbled. Okay. I dabbled into all of it. Right. Almost everything but a needle. And but that was, I always wanted to check myself. Right. And when I knew that was for me, I was like, okay, this is not.
But I think that sometimes, the problem is with addiction, because I was actually engaged when I was 21 to an alcoholic and drug addict. I mean, I didn't know.
How old was he?
He was 24, 25. I don't remember, honestly. He was a little bit older than I was, but he had a great heart, but he had a bigger problem. And I firmly believe that you have that gene that makes you. And I mean, he grew up in a broken home, but a lot of people did. My husband did too, and he doesn't have that issue. I mean, he's very, strict on himself. He was like, he and one of his best friends, Robbie, Robbie's a little bit shorter and stout, and Dan was tall and thin. They called themselves the perfect 10. They were on the boat because Dan was like a 1 and he was like a 0.
Okay.
And so he was like, he said, I looked at myself and I was starting to look a little bit more like a 0. So I stopped drinking Coke, and he has not had he just stopped drinking Coke. So he hadn't had one. So he's very disciplined like that. And I think that the people who aren't, and look, I know there are all circumstances why people get addicted and are addicted to drugs. And sometimes it is out of their control, and people are like, no, it's not. They have the choice. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, for example, people who maybe get caught up in sex trafficking, they get literally stolen and they are injected with drugs. That's not their fault. But how do they get off of it when they're addicted to it because somebody else was putting it in their body? Like, to me, that is not their fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I think the hard thing about, like, for me, when I don't party anymore, but I am a medical. I do have a medical marijuana card, but I'm a patient and I do it every day.
Yeah.
I do like before I got we do the show. Like I did a wake and bake cardio push for 30 minutes. And
I don't know what that is.
So like I wake and bake. I woke up and I took my medicine. And then I do cardio for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then I listen to music. That's like that song I sent you.
Yes, yeah, I listened to it.
So like I kind of get my brain, and then I start noting. But I found my place on what I wanted because I have cerebral palsy, so I don't take Lortabs. I was prescribed Lortabs, painkillers. I told the doctor I'm not doing that anymore. The pain got so bad because I have back spasms.
Yeah,
I go through a lot of pain, but I went through a spell where I was drinking way too much because I didn't have access to medical marijuana.
Yeah.
And
see, I was just drinking too much because I was trying to when I lived in North Carolina, I was diagnosed with severe depression. I was just trying to escape. I was doing a horrible shift and it just, I didn't know what I was doing.
Plus you're in the service industry though. When you get into bartending, once you're in that industry.
Well, I didn't do that until later when I was here. North
really?
Carolina was before here. And look, Dan's cousin Wayne, we always talked to her like, man, we could be alcoholics. Like I could start out putting some Baileys in my coffee. I don't think I could do it now that I have kids. These were talks that we had really before we had our kids. Yeah. But my mom always told me, she said, be careful. That gene runs in our family. Alcoholism runs in the family, and you need to be aware of it. So I will have those discussions with my kids, whether people think that it's right or not. They're mine. I get to do it.
How often do you drink?
Well, now, I was thinking the other day, maybe if that. I'll go through phases. Like summertime, I probably maybe would drink a little bit more. But, I've gone months without drinking. I just don't care about it as much anymore. Like I had 2 drinks the other night, Fly Llama actually, at my brother-in-law's. We had my mother-in-law and sister-in-law's birthday is the 6th, so we went over and had a birthday celebration. I had 2 beers, and I was like, I'm really tired and ready to go to bed.
I think my thing for me was once I switched to get that the medical card, I really didn't care to have it.
Yeah.
I didn't really care to have drinking, and now with Oliver too is, when you drink, no matter if you have 2 drinks, you have that kind of fog in the morning.
Yeah.
And when you get older,
the fog gets worse.
It gets worse. And then if you got a 5-year-old, let me tell you something. They don't care. They don't care if you're tired.
They don't.
They want an egg sandwich. Son, why do you want an egg sandwich every day? Like there's so much other stuff you can have. Oatmeal.
He'll get better. I promise.
Oh, it's egg sandwich.
He'll get better.
But it does help me. I don't think I've had a drop in a few weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not quitting.
Right.
I just haven't had the urge. I've found.
Well, but that's, I feel so lucky and so blessed that I'm at that point because I know there are people who need it.
What's
they need
your
it to
favorite drink,
function.
though? What is your favorite drink?
Oh, I love a hot toddy. I love like a tea, a hot tea with honey and cinnamon and some bourbon. Like
What
love.
bourbon?
Well, I've been putting Buffalo Trace in it. I hadn't done it in over a year. So you see how much I drink and how much I love it. I used to love wine, but wine, I can drink a little bit, but my limit really is I learned
2. Emily's 3.
I'm 2 because once I do more than 2, then I'm kind of like, let's go.
New Orleans, here we go.
No, not going to New Orleans. I'd still be scared of that.
Don't hang out with me then.
Oh, goodness.
So let me just go on this. What made you get into meteorology? Is it a meteorologist?
A meteorologist,
Okay.
yes.
What made you want to do that?
Well, okay, long story short, honestly, I was the youngest of 4 girls, and I went to Starkville Academy, and I went K through 12 on the same campus. It's very small. I graduated.
How many people?
44 people.
Okay.
And there was literally a public and a private school, and that was it. There wasn't down here, people go, well, that's what it is here. And I'm like, no, there's there's so many city schools because we're boom, 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 boom. In Starkville, it's not like that. In Starkville's a city, but then all of the other around it, they're all county schools.
Like towns.
Yeah, but they don't have little town schools. North Mississippi is very different from down here. And don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm glad I grew up there, but I'm glad I'm here now. But I think that doing that, and then I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go and see the world. And I did one
I'm
college.
still in my mom's car.
I did one college application, Jordan, one. And I was like, this is a lot of work. If I get in, I'm good. And I did. I mean, I made a 22 on my ACT, which is not very good. I mean, especially by today's standards.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. But I mean, that I took it twice and I got it.
I would take a person with 22 and common sense over a person with a 30 and no common sense.
Right. Well, and I do have as common sense. Yeah. I'm a terrible test taker. And I that was the minimum to get into communications at Mississippi State. And I was like, I'm in. And so I went to Mississippi State, and I mean, I'm glad I did. I was so close to my parents. I still got to go home. I mean, Mama did my laundry. She'd cook on Sundays, you know, but my mom was not like, when are you coming home? I want to see you. They've never been that way. And all of my friends were like, let's just go hang out at your house. Your parents are so awesome, because they wouldn't let us drink.
Mom sounds like a sweetheart.
We didn't drink over there. They really are amazing. Dad passed away in March. It'll be 2 years.
Sorry about that.
Well, that's okay. It's life. I mean, that's one thing.
Well, I'm sorry for your mom though, because she's, you know,
she's doing great. She actually was really struggling, and all of my sisters, we were really worried about her because she had gotten down to like 86 pounds. She was just tiny, and she's always been little.
Did she get out now?
Absolutely.
Okay. You got to get out, guys. You cannot stay. Do not stay in your house.
It has been wonderful. She's like, I'm just ready for people to stop looking at me with that, like, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. Yeah. I'm really okay.
That's good.
But she taught me, and you know, my best friend Shannon.
Sounds like you live in Footloose.
Well, my best friend Shannon was like, you have such a healthy like relationship with death. She's like, I'm terrified of it, and I'm like, I mean, it's going to happen. And I remember having the conversation with my mom. I want to say she had a blue Buick, and it had blue interior, and we were riding down South Montgomery, and I heard a commercial on the radio about death. And I remember looking at her and saying, I don't want you to die. And she went, well, I'm going to one day, and I hope it's before you. And I was like, what do you mean? I mean, I was young. Yeah. And she was like, well, I mean, honey, that's a natural way of life. I mean, we have children, and we don't want to go before you. It's unnatural that I should have to bury you. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. And lucky for us, we have been able to see the natural progression of life. That my father's passed away. He was 74. And so, yeah, she's 76. And she's still got a lot of spunk and a lot of life in her. I mean, she's just a little bitty thing, and she is so sweet. And I mean, she's so positive, and she's just, and my dad was such an empath.
Where she live at now?
Starkville.
Still?
She still lives in Starkville, and her big house.
You got a good family over there, huh? They probably all live in the same property and all.
No, they bought a house in Sherwood Forest. I mean, you can hear the Mississippi State football games from their house. Like, you can hear when something happens. But I have another sister, two sisters live in Starkville, and then one lives in Birmingham. And so that's kind of the area up there, is that Starkville, Birmingham. We vacation every summer. My mom rents a house on Lake Tuscaloosa, and my brother-in-law brings his boat over, and we just go over and spend 4 nights. And I mean, we all look forward to the lake trip every summer. So, you know, the kids learn to ski.
Do you ever get kind of scared there? Like, you're seeing the movie Jason?
No, yeah, we don't. Yeah,
okay,
I don't get scared about that. No,
I do.
But I am kind of like, I'm not getting in the water by that grass.
So did you, when you were in school at State?
Oh yeah.
What was your first gig? Like, did you work at your like local news there?
Well, I did not work at my local news. CBI is the local news up there, and there were people who did that. But I worked at WLOV, which was the Fox station, and we recorded it on campus and sent it over. Actually, we had to drive the tape over to the church, with the Methodist church, because that's where it was out of. But my first like paid gig, because that was more of an like, you got to do it, but you didn't get paid to do it. My first little paying thing was actually radio, and I worked for the campus radio station, WMSV, and that was really just
Can you
DJ.
give me your radio voice? Do you remember it?
It's this.
Okay.
I mean, my voice is the same in person and on air, and it is too hard to change it.
And you don't really talk like a lot of the other anchors. They talk slow. They're like, today's news. Which I can't really.
It's too hard to. I mean, occasionally I'll try to go a little British.
There you go.
Would you like a spot of tea? I do that when Chet was there, Chet Landry. We'd be like, "Hello, darling."
I think Chet's he's happy right now. I can
tell. He is. Yeah, he's doing great. He said his favorite part is being able to take Ivy to school every morning.
Well, I mean, I was always fascinated too. Is like I'm more like, what time does Carrie get up at? How many hours does she sleep in a day?
It varies. And that's the thing. It varies so much.
I mean, last night you were there at 2 a.m., okay? Mm-hmm. You're wrapping this up with me. You're heading there right after this, going right back down to it, and then you got to go drive 3.5 hours. So you got to get ready first, too.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to take a nap after I do midday. I'm just working the midday show today, so.
Yeah, but you got 3.5 hour drive, which you probably sleep in the car.
Yeah.
Dan, you got to listen to like some Enigma or something.
You might fall asleep.
Yeah, you got to have some. I think it's good for what y'all are doing, but your schedule's insane. There's no way you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours.
Well, on Monday, Tuesday, that's generally when I go in and I do the late shift. I don't, because I usually get in around midnight. But I mean, I try to get to bed between midnight and 1. But my alarm goes off at 7:15 each morning because I have to get the kids up and get them to school and get myself up. Also, I teach a class on Mondays and Fridays.
What do you teach?
I teach bounce.
Okay, is that you just bouncing on a ball? What's going on with bounce?
It is bouncing on a mini trampoline. It's at Soar Bungee Fitness. Have you heard of this place?
No.
Like you get in a bungee cord and you jump and you fly. It's great exercise and it's really fun.
Is the bungee cord on the trampoline?
No, it's not. This is not. You're not in a harness or on the bungee with a trampoline. You're just on a little mini trampoline. And so it's a 30-minute class. And I've always wanted to teach a class. So now's my time in my mid-40s. And I love it. And the ladies who work out with me, I've had a couple of men come and do the class, but mostly ladies. They are just like, they just are like, this is my favorite class. I love it so much. And it's fun. And I love music. And so I'm constantly changing the music. And I don't ever have a set routine in my head that I'm going to do, ever. Yeah. And so it's just kind of like, what do I feel like doing? And that's what I do. And so for me, that works. And I think, it works for the ladies too, who come and who enjoy the class.
How do you start the class though?
I warm up.
What song?
It depends on the day. I have an oldies bounce mix.
Outcast.
I do have that, but I have oldies. I have 90s. I have 80s and 90s. I have movie soundtracks. I have, I just started doing, the last 2 classes I've taught, I've done Tabata music, which is where you work for 20 and rest for 10 seconds.
So like, are you dancing like this? Or are you just like,
Oh no, you're like bouncing. Like you'll do tucks, where you pick your knees up and we'll do jumping jacks.
Where's this located at?
D'Iberville, by D'Iberville Middle School across from Warrior Stadium, over in D'Iberville. So
can people sign up?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, they go to soarthecoast.com. Anna is, young mom. I say she's young. She's in her 20s. And her husband is in the military. They just moved over here about 1.5 years ago. She's coming up on 2 years, I think, of being here. And it really has been so fun. We've had... it just has become such a fun community. It's like a group of ladies. Like we just went to lunch, yesterday and got to meet up because everybody couldn't make it to the Christmas party. So we were like, well, we want to still see everybody. So, we met up for lunch and it's just a great group of people who just have fun. It's really no judgment and it's learning something new. It's getting out of your comfort zone. It's being able to be silly. It really is. You feel like a kid being able to go there. So it's a fun way.
You need to have that. I have that with video games.
Yes.
So I sit right here. And I play Rocket League, Call of Duty, and a few other games with a few of my friends. Shout out to Chase Bories. He just got a new Xbox. He's back in the crew. We all got kids. So now he lives in Will Market, so he's got an Xbox.
Dan, we have an Xbox, and you know what?
Does Dan play?
He played so much when he was younger, and he'll go in. Well, he will go in and play with the boys. Sometimes I'm like, "Where's Dan?" And I'll look, and he's in there, playing. And it's not a lot, but he definitely is into the games. They're like, "Mom," I'm like, "I don't know anything about them. I played Atari."
We probably do. So our house shuts down around 8:30. 8:30 is our time.
Nice.
Emily works at Pearl River Community College.
Okay.
She does orientation coordinating. So by 8:30, I'd say 8:39, I come up here for about 2 hours. 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'm really just chatting with my friends that I've been friends with these guys since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's just funny that we, Chase has got a beautiful new home, got a beautiful daughter, a beautiful wife. Like, it's just cool for us to hop on and just be able to talk because we can't go out every day.
Right. So what's your favorite part about having a podcast?
People getting to meet people and their stories. And
what's been one of the, like, whoa, like taking you aback stories that has been like, wow, like either that was really cool or I would have never thought that.
I mean, I would say for me, it would be the Sands Project with Mike Butler. That was, and then,
that was crazy.
Ivan Spinner Ivan Spinner went to jail when there was 30 other people that went, and he went to jail, served his 4 months, came back, was like, hey, I made a mistake. I'm a human being. And that's the thing also is that's the kind of stuff I like when people come on like a Butler that only wants to build a beautiful community,
right?
And put his heart out there. But also, Denise coming on the show recently and talking about, her blood pressure and, the things she deals with. And that's stuff too. I guess real conversation. I think I'm not the best texter, but
oh gosh, I
just enjoy it. I'm not big into sports. I like meeting people and hearing stories, and that's like I get really excited, and that's why I enjoy it. Like Emily even said, like, when I started this new show, knowing that we got the insurance office and stuff, is like, well, I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah,
I've been doing this. I got after you. I got I got a 2 or 3 podcasts coming up this week. I love hearing stories. I feel like I'm from here. This is my home. This is my community. Just like we do with like Carter's Champions is a big part of my life. But like, I love this community, and I feel like I have a mic, and people do hear stories that I'll bring a guest on that they always judge people.
Yes.
You always get that too, is like, they don't really know a person. And then, like, oh my God, that's actually a really nice person. But when you've seen him, if you take like Ivan, you can look at Ivan because, he's a millionaire. Is he moving this? Is he a drug dealer? I mean, Ivan's in the insurance business. The dude, he's teaching me insurance. The dude's in the insurance business, and he's an investor. Him and his wife work really hard. But like the moment you see him, because his car or his buildings, you automatically think this way about him. But you don't realize that, like, I've been to his daughter's wedding. I mean, daughter's birthday party, not wedding. Sorry, Ivan. But birthday party. And you'd
be like, slow down, buddy.
Yeah. But you see like a family man. You see, is that my phone or yours?
I think it's yours.
Where's it at?
I don't know. I didn't put it anywhere.
But you see, that's my alarm.
Chet Landry said hello, by the way.
Hey, he's like my second cousin.
Is he?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I have a big family, but that's the stuff like where it's like, you look at like Ivan that has Logan and Austin and Bella, his daughter, the Bella, named it after her. And you see a guy just working really hard. He gets up like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Just grinds, but
it's like Butler.
Same thing.
Yeah.
You just don't know. Like, I think that's what I like really enjoy is, Sean, on our old other podcast, Jordan Matthew, we did Sean Amiziel also, and he's a pharmacist at CVS, but when he went to school, he would call himself a doctor, but people have that kind of gray area with a pharmacist. Well, he came on our show, and they some lady had seen him at CVS, and nobody had ever called him Dr. Amiziel. Mm-hmm. Some lady called him Dr. Amiziel after a podcast. And for me, that was like, he texted me, and for me, that was like everything. It was like, whoa. Like, if we got somebody to call you by the name that you work for,
right,
that's done. I mean, I think we lack conversation. We're always just phone, text.
Yeah, and a lot of people aren't. I think kids have a lot of problem with communicating with other kids now, and that's one thing we're real big on with our kids. We're like, put the phone down, put the tablet down, look them in the eye. They shake your hand. You look them in the eye. You say your name.
Do you do manners?
Teaching. Yes, we do manners. Yes, I mean we are a yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir family.
We are too.
And it just shows respect. And if somebody says, "Don't call me that," then it's much better for somebody to say, "Don't call me that," than "Why is this?" person not saying when I was freshman in college, no, summer before my freshman year of college, I went out to Camp La Jolla, which was in Southern California, and it was basically, people call them fat farms. I exercised all day, trying to lose
I
weight.
love that movie, Heavy Weights.
I've always struggled with my weight, and so I went out there. It was a great experience. I met this Jewish girl from Beverly Hills. Her dad was an attorney for Norm from Cheers. Half Mexican, half American, Catholic, daughter of a doctor and a Mexican immigrant, and then me, Southern Methodist from Mississippi. And we just clicked. It was us three at this thing, and we were together all the time. And so, I was out there for, I think, 6 weeks. So we were in Camp La Jolla, and it was just, it was so fun. It was so eye-opening. I don't remember why I originally started telling you this.
Because we're just talking.
Yeah, but I was telling you it for a reason, that why I was out there. But it was just, I've always enjoyed meeting people. And so going out there, meeting those people.
Is that so like a fat camp? Is that like, what age group we're talking?
It was, I think there were some young kids all the way up to in their 20s. And this was, again, I had just graduated high school. And so that was my first trip. I remember it was my first trip away for my family for an extended period of time. And
how did your parents find out about this place?
There
wasn't internet. Was it like, did they have like AOL?
I don't know.
Or could parents use AOL?
Maybe. Probably so. At that time, that was 95. So when did Al Gore invent the internet?
92, I think? 96, I don't know.
So, yeah, I do think that, I don't know. I don't know how it came up, but other than maybe a grandparent knew someone who sent someone there and, type of thing.
Did you have fun, though?
Oh, my gosh. I had so much fun. I had just, when you're young, you have no clue. I know if there's anybody young out here watching, listen to these older people.
No kids are watching young.
Well, like 18, 19, 20. That's still really young. And a lot of people at that age, we think we know a lot. I was running laps I stayed on the UCSD campus, University of Southern California, San Diego campus. I was running. I'd do trails. I like to work out and I like to move. But we would go and eat, certain meals. You would track it and everything. But I would be running around a lap and the San Diego Chargers were in the center of the field practicing, and I had no idea. Now, that clearly wouldn't happen today. I'm sure there's way more security. But I can remember walking down the stairs, and one of the football players, I was like, I'd done an uphill trail and my legs were killing me. And so I was walking down the stairs, like really like creeping. And he was like, I was like, sorry, my legs are really sore. He's like, you look good to me. And I was like, oh, and I just kept going. Like I was 18, and I was first introduced to the June gloom, which was also something about weather that I was like so intrigued with. I thought I was going out to Southern California in the summer. It was going to be awesome. It was going to be hot and sunny and good weather. And June gloom is like, for real, it is like fog and cold. It was 50. I had to go to Target and buy sweatpants in Southern California for summer. I was like, this is so weird.
So California, another lie.
Yes.
Another lie, California. Another lie, California.
And so anyway, going back to your initial question with how did I get interested in it? I was in communications. My dad showed me an article on, at the time, Mississippi State had the only broadcast meteorology program in the country. And I just happened to be there. And I've always been interested in weather. I can remember going to the country club. Again, that sounds a little fancy. Remember, it's Starkville.
It's still awesome now.
But having to get out of the pool.
Was it like Caddyshack style?
No, okay. It was not. It's not fancy.
Okay.
But it was a place to go and to have a pool, because that was before a lot of people had pools. And so we would go out there and I would play, swim. And I can remember, I don't know if you know Jay. Do you know Jay Jordan?
Yeah.
His mom, Dinah, she always tells a story. I can remember when y'all moved over and your mom would sit at the pool and everybody would hold their breath. You were like 2 years old and you'd jump off the diving board and you'd be underwater and everybody's like, and your mom was like, she's fine. And I was a little fish. I love to swim. I mean, I would stay in the pool all day long. And so having to get out of the pool because of storms was always like, but I was like, man, this is so cool. I just remember, and I still am intrigued. I think weather is so majestic and it's so cool how it changes. Like yesterday, it was so cool in the morning and then it warmed up as that warm front moved north. We saw the storms move through and then I was like, oh my gosh, it's so humid and like just you can feel the air. And now today, that front's moved through and the cooler air's moving in and it's cool again. Like those things are so cool to me.
How do you figure all that stuff out? Do you just like stand outside? Like, what's your superpower? How do you like? Do you know now? Since you've been doing it so long, do you know now? You walk outside, you're like, it's gonna rain in about 3 hours.
You know, I don't. But I look at the models, and you know, I was on.
I couldn't figure that stuff out. I'm being honest with you. I have friends all the time that send me like the models. Like, we got bad weather coming, and it never comes. And I'm like, are you just sending me a picture? Are you actually?
Well, things change, and a model is not a forecast; it's just a model, and you only are as good as the data that you get. But
believe everything on the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes, please. But you know, I was on Brownwater Banter last week, and I was talking about this, and I say this.
I hate y'all. I hate y'all so much.
Oh, you!
I couldn't watch. No, but
I told them I was like, I'm going to be on Jordan's show next week.
So Jared and Joey, we're all St. Martin Latimer. Okay. Well, me and Joey are Cedar Grove. My mom still lives in Cedar Grove, but like we grew up together.
Yeah.
Me and Jared started doing podcasts together. Mm-hmm. We had a Castnet Studios was in Wayward Kraken. I was the fourth. There was four guys. It was Will, Anthony,
so
Jared.
you were like the View of South Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. And we no, it was like Jared. I had an idea that I wanted to start a show, and it was going to be like Cocktails with Beard. Yeah, or something like that. A little background, like I was a Twitch streamer. I played video games. I was a Twitch streamer. They got swatted by the cops in 2012, 13. I was like one of the first Twitch streamers down here. I got swatted by the cops. And
what does that mean?
Like a SWAT team came to my house because I was gaming online, like live.
But why would a SWAT team come to your house? Because they thought that it was guns?
So a kid did a Twitter thing, found my IP address, and he said, I looked across the street and watched this guy murder his wife and kids. And at the time I had a husky and I was single. And they showed up, 14 of them, Gaucher PD, shout out. And one cop had tackled me. But so I kind of, you know.
Did that kid who called that in get in trouble?
Yeah, I think he got 15 years, like terrorism.
Oh, wow.
It was, it kind of stopped me from, I don't even know where I would be if I probably would have stayed with Twitch if I never got swatted because I was streaming a lot.
Yeah.
Like it was like.
That's like Chet's sister, Holly. Is she still streaming a lot now that she's had her baby, or do you know?
No, I don't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know she streamed.
Yeah, she does. She's on Twitch. She's done, I think, really well with it.
But where was I at?
Sorry, you were saying that you didn't know where you would be, but you think you would still be probably streaming because you were doing you were streaming so much.
I enjoyed it.
But you're glad it happened because.
I'm glad it happened because it made me take a step back.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, should I be streaming, you know, 8 hours on a video game with everybody
watching?
Yeah, the whole time. And you're seeing it now. The whole new version of this new era kids. Like I used to stream like 8-9 hours straight. Wow. And you'd watch me live. I used to straight shirtless. I raised money for a girl's set of boobs that she was a streamer from California. Like I used to stream like in a team. I was in a Doom clan. Like we used to always like stream around. And so like it was serious, like, but now
that is such an alternate universe for me.
Oh, I learned.
Like I don't know anything about it.
Oh, so it got me. So what happened with me was like I had a buddy Adam that was from Iowa, and he was in the hospital, and I didn't even know him, but people donate to me, and he had cancer as a kid. He had cancer in his teens, his 20s, right early 20s, but he would watch me in the hospital. And then I would get like messages, and then I'd get messages from other people, like with their dad and mom fighting, and they're in the bedroom, and there's like kids that are like 10. So then I was like, okay, I got to kind of straighten myself up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because then I started having people that are a lot younger that were like, my mom and dad are fighting, and I don't like myself. I want to end my life. And I had to sit there and be like, don't do that.
Right.
Like, you know, so then I started doing the whole, like, don't, you know, if you game, like you don't bash somebody that's not that good. So
Right.
then if you started being rude to other people that I played with, I would just kick you out or leave.
Yeah.
So I always kind of, it was just a lot on me. It was just overwhelming. The support message was amazing, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a therapist.
Right.
I mean, I can't.
I thought about being a therapist when I was in college.
You'd probably be great at it.
And I was like, I don't think I would be able to leave the problems at the office. I'd take them home with me. And that's why I didn't pursue that path. I can't separate it enough.
You'd probably be really good.
So I feel like I can still be really
You're a
good. I
caring
don't have a
person.
degree. But I talk to my friends. I talk to, my family. One of my sisters calls me. She's like, I'm just telling you all this because I know you won't judge me. I'm like, yeah, I don't judge you. There's no point in it. And it's taken a while, but I've also received an incredible amount of judgment over my career because that's what people do.
So many haters.
But I have way more supporters.
I know, but
and I try to focus on that, but we do. For some crazy reason, we focus in on all of the bad.
So I went into that clip of 2018 when all that stuff happened to you on the
Okay.
news, and I was like, that's some messed up shit. Like that's just like,
Yeah.
shaming you. And honestly, you look great. So I don't.
Well, thank you.
But I think that was like, so for me, it's like also too, I'm handicapped.
Yeah.
Like I already have to think in my head, because the doctors didn't think I was going to be walking past, my 20s.
Yeah.
And I got to think in my head. This morning when I woke up, I'm like, it's going to be a good day because of the weather. The weather messes with my knees.
Oh, I can imagine.
So it's like, but it takes me about 5 minutes to start moving.
Uh-huh.
And I start getting warming up. That's why I do the cardio. Start moving, and I'm like, okay, I'm good today.
Yeah.
Start up. I'm like an old car, you know what I mean? You just gotta give it a little gas.
I feel the older I get too. I get up and I'm like, ooh, let me get these hips moving.
So I mean, but I got picked on when I was, younger because I used to wear braces at St. Martin in school.
Mm-hmm.
But also when I got my braces off, I was a mean little shit.
But don't you feel like it helped you? I mean, in the long run?
Oh yeah, it's made me see. I had braces on my feet, and then you take the braces off my feet, I made class favorites.
Yeah.
You seen a whole. That's kind of too. Is like you could be right here, and you're an awesome person. You are. I mean, honestly, when it comes to the community, the stature of WLOX anchor, chief meteorologist, like you are a local celebrity. Whether you want to say you're not, or you are, because that's what we've always known.
Yeah.
Mike Reeder.
And it's weird. Mike texted me last night and was like, having fun. I was like, no, not at all.
So I had Mike West. Mike West owns Direct Auto. Great car. This is where I do get my car stuff. He's a great friend. Been on my old show a few times. But he was in Lucedale at school. Mike Reeder, he wanted Mike Reeder to sign his book bag, and he didn't.
Oh.
And he never forgot it.
Well, he probably.
I think he cried.
But you know what? You know why Mike didn't do it?
Well,
because he was probably like, I am not signing that kid's book bag. His parents would kill me. They spent money on that bag. They can't reuse it if I sign it. You think about things like that. Like somebody had on a real nice shirt and they were like, sign my shirt. I'd be like, why don't I sign a piece of paper instead? Because I don't want to ruin your clothes. But
when did you know when that hit you? When was the first time that you got recognized?
Well, I mean, it was probably my first job. It was in Erie, Pennsylvania. But in North Carolina, I was there for 3 years and 3 months. And like I had said, I was diagnosed with severe depression. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it, but it was because I didn't feel like I could do anything. Like you go to lunch. If you have a bad waiter or waitress, you still have to tip because otherwise the weather girl's a bee. Yeah. She didn't tip me. And it's like, well, but I mean, you threw the food at me.
You tip 25%? You have to give
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 20, 25. I mean, around the holidays, we typically will do a little bit more just because it's the holidays. But I try because I do know. I mean, they're working hard. And I mean, that there are so many people who don't.
But when was the first time you got recognized where you got that kind of jolt of like,
I have no idea. I can't even remember that because it was more unbelievable. Like I told you, you're naive and you're young. I graduated college at 21 and I'm like, people aren't going to watch the news. This is going to be an easy job. People watch the news. A lot of people watch the news.
I feel like you're like my sister because I've watched you so much on TV.
Well, in North Carolina, David Mira? He's a BMXer. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Dave Mira.
Dave Mira. Yeah, he was in Greenville when I lived there.
Did he kill himself?
Did he?
I think he did.
No. He was, he was nice, but he was very reserved and very, I think, had a really hard time
I'm
with the
check
fame.
that real fast.
Yeah, check it
I'm gonna
because
check that. I'm pretty sure
because I mean, when I say we used to hang out, we were not friends. I did not go to his house, but we would be out in Greenville, North Carolina. That's where I was also saying that I was drinking so much, which was also leading to my depression.
Yeah, he suicide was 2016.
Oh, I vaguely remember hearing about that now. But yeah, he had a younger brother too, but he had a huge BMX community that lived in Greenville, North Carolina. And that's where I lived. I mean, ECU, and I drove over to Chocowinity. That's where our station was over there, but we had a remote location in Greenville at the mall. And, I worked there, and, I had a good life there, but I was ready to move on. And then I took the job here. I was either FMY up in Greensboro, which was a much bigger market, or here. And, and about suicide, I do want to take a moment, and I do want to talk about how important it is to give people the benefit of the doubt. We've got to start doing that more.
That's true.
You don't know what somebody's going through, and it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if somebody did something bad to you. It still doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with them. So have a little sympathy that, somebody may have done something bad to them. And so you can break the cycle of the bad if you just try not
talk
to
to
take
somebody.
Yes.
I'm more open to talk about my depression.
Yes.
And the battles,
But with the meteorologist in general, they are the highest rate, and especially men, for suicide in the news business. But in the news business, it's meteorologists, because you have to think about it. The joke we hear all the time, guess.
You messed up the weather?
Well, yeah. You're the only person who can have a job and be right half the time and still keep your job. I mean, all the time. And I realize it's just people trying to be nice, make conversation or whatever. But then there are also these people who, you saw the email, you brought it up just a little while ago, and people say awful things to people who are on air. And so many of these meteorologists are moving to a new place. They don't know that weather pattern. They're not from there. And that's a thing with in the news business, and weather especially, you have to go where the jobs are. So you're going somewhere, you're not making money hardly at all, like barely enough to survive. Certainly not enough to go fly back and forth, fly home, fly see your friends, fly go do things. You're not making money in this business. It is like probably barely over minimum wage when you're just starting. And so then then they, demean them for not looking the best, and their suits aren't the nicest. And it's like they can't afford it. They can't afford it, and all they're hearing is people telling them how awful they are. So that is why there was, several years ago, there was a big rash of meteorologists, in especially small markets. They were killing themselves. And so,
I didn't know that.
And that has a lot to do with just how people are talking to them. Like, Dan's real big on, he's like, what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business.
Well, Dan seems like a person who will shut you off. Like, shut off that outside work, because, like, no.
Yeah, it is. But
does Dan even watch TV?
Yes, he does.
He does? Okay.
He does watch TV, but he likes, like, documentaries and...
See, me and Dan are a lot alike.
Yeah.
I'm a documentary person.
Yeah, he's documentaries and whatnot. But anyway, so I really wanted to touch on that because... we do have a part-time meteorologist who's coming into the station, and he's young. He's at USA, so you're about to see a new face. And we're going to introduce him like next week, because he's going to go on air, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend. And, I just want people to give people a chance. I mean, he's just trying to live out his dream, and that's what anybody on TV is doing, and really anybody in any job. So, I say things like...
What if you think people just focus more on themselves than others?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I wonder what life would be like.
I know. Yeah. But, people don't do that because they don't want to be introspective.
We'd rather watch the Kardashians.
Well, no, they don't want to be introspective, because then you really have to work on yourself, and we all have things we can work on. One other thing I had wanted to say, too, was that the meteorologist at the station, I feel like our team is fantastic, and we're all so different. And I'm really proud of what we've been able to build there, and the trust and the respect. But, all three of those Mets, and now coming in this fourth one, they all know more about meteorology than I do. I'm so far removed from college at this point. I graduated in December of 98, and I remember being like, I wanted my own SKU log P. And I did. I mean, I had it and I tracked it like for once after I got out of school, but I was into weather, and then life hit and I was into life, and then I got married, and then I was into family. So, I have the gift. I think my gift for television is being able to relate and being able to relay the information in the way that it needs to be relayed, without panic, and getting the information
But you have a
across.
heart too. So when you have, if you were a meteorologist and you didn't have a heart, you'd probably suck. But you have a heart, and that kind of makes it. You care about people. You care about your community. You care, because we got to wrap this up because she's got to go. She's got to go live, but she will be on next month. We're gonna have her. We got some good news coming up. New projects gonna be happening. But I'm gonna have her back on next month.
Okay, yay!
And you got some really cool stuff. We got a
more
lot
to
more
talk
stuff we're
about.
gonna be going to,
Yes.
but we love you guys, and we'll drop some stuff in the link. And love you.
Yeah. Have a great day. Be nice to someone.